Hello, so today we are joined by the cat's butt. This is just a follow-up video on the one that I made and released the other day. Because I'm techno-challenged, I'm not sure if I'll get the link attached, but I'd encourage you to go and watch that one, where I was talking about a guy in America who murdered a doctor over the death of his mom. And I had touched on in that video the circumstances leading up to what happened to his mom, how she had to go for treatment, how she died, and his eventual desperation and distress at the whole procedure, the process of losing his mom, the doctor's indifference, the court case that ensued, and eventually the doctor got away, scot-free kind of thing. The guy got a settlement, but he'd been sent a huge bill for, in essence, a dead mother. And by the time he'd paid that bill with the settlement that he'd received from the negligence court case, he was left with nothing. Obviously, his heart was broken. He was devastated because his mom meant everything to him. And I also touched on in the last video the fact that I lost my mom similarly. So I just want to recap on all of that and then get into what I was trying to get to when, due to techno-challenged moi, the microphone conked in the last video. So keeping a beady eye on it now. Hopefully I charged it today. So he eventually, feeling very lost in the system and very dismissed by the system, eventually just realized that he had nothing left to live for, and he felt his mom needed to be avenged. I mean, obviously I don't know what was going through the man's heart and mind, but he'd clearly been pushed quite hard for quite a while before he in essence snapped. But even then he still planned, and it was premeditated. He got the gun, he went and practiced with the gun, and then he confronted the doctor after he'd found out where she lived and he'd been watching her for a bit, etc. He finally confronted her, and even then, in the face of all of that, she still had this rather cold, indifferent, detached attitude, almost a dismissive, who are you kind of thing. I mean, I can't imagine, because there was CCTV footage of it all. I can't imagine staring down a person with a gun and still having attitude. That is bizarre. But she gave him attitude. She still wasn't remorseful or sorry for his mom's passing away at her hands, basically, through her negligence, because the court case was proven, that she was negligent. And he just, pulled the trigger 3 times and he killed her. And it had struck a very deep chord with me, because when my mom had fallen ill, quite unexpectedly, from the time that I got her into the hospital and I started talking to and dealing with the cardiologist, who seemed on the go and on the ball at the time, but, in hindsight, I don't know how good he was, to be honest, because my mom was in hospital for almost a week before he called in another specialist to come and help him do the procedure that she so desperately needed, which was a coronary, first a cath lab procedure where they open up the valves or the vessels, the blood vessels that are blocked and clogged. But it was too late. My mom had been in hospital for a week and her organs were failing, from her heart not functioning properly, not having enough blood pumping, etc. And so by the time the specialist came in to assist, and they actually managed to get the stents in, and the angiogram procedure. It wasn't an operation, it was where they go in through the groin, through the main blood vessel, and then they open up the blood vessels in the heart when they view it on a camera. And my mom was in renal failure at that stage, and just so many things were failing, apart from her heart, obviously. And 2 days after that procedure, I received a phone call from the hospital from a nurse telling me, your mother's in asystole. Now, she must have known, because I'd been visiting my mom, and she must have known I was medically trained. Otherwise, why would you use medical terminology to say to someone your loved one's passed away? And that was how I was told my mom died. Your mother was, your mother's in asystole, and it was the nurse who did it. To this day, the doctors never bothered to contact me. He never phoned, he never contacted, he never offered anything. What was so striking at the time was that my mom's nephrologist, rooms within an hour, were calling and saying, please hold on for Dr. So-and-so. And he came on the line and said, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm so sorry, condolences for your mom's passing, we tried everything, blah blah, you know. And he offered a little bit of human care, a human touch, a human I'm sorry. And that's all I needed. I understood that, you know, life happens and you did your best. All I wanted was someone to just say, we're sorry, and we really offer you our sympathies and condolences. By contrast, her main doctor, her cardiologist, never bothered, didn't even say a word. And that hurt so deeply for a long time after she passed away. But I didn't go hunt him down and shoot him in his driveway. Nor am I gonna, by the way. If he does turn up, oh no, forbid, no, seriously, I'm not even joking. No, I'm not doing that. Okay, the point of why I'm doing this video is because I think in life at the moment, the one thing that so many people are struggling with, and what I believe there's such a lack of, is forgiveness, is genuine forgiveness. And whew, that in itself is such a difficult thing, especially if you've been really deeply hurt and you feel so like things have been done to you so unfairly, and there's such an injustice that's happened. It's so easy to get so angry and so bitter. And I think sometimes because we can feel so alone, like nobody understands, there's no one to talk to, there's no one to turn to. I just want to, again, you know, the whole purpose of me trying to share and create the videos that I make is certainly not winning any glitz and glamour awards. I'm not about to receive an Emmy for my efforts, I don't think. I'm not in line for an Oscar as far as I know. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I think, you know, knowing what I've been through, and then I look at a story like that, which I came across, and it was so similar or parallel to my own, and yet the outcomes were so very different. I mean, this man literally just felt like he had nothing left to live for, and he just not only destroyed another human life and took away what I'm sure other people, there were loved ones and friends and family who were devastated by her loss. So I think my video is about to die again. Oh dear. Sorry guys. The techno-challenged me has to say goodbye, and I'm going to do another video to conclude. I'm so sorry.